there are some critically important things you need to see about the Tesla stock price. I'm going to show it to you. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. And you know, a weird thing, just real quick about measuring the length of socks, if you're wearing them, they always come out to be around a foot. All right, so I'm going to put the chart up for you for Tesla, and we're going to talk about some of the technicals that I'm seeing, especially on the daily chart, that I think are a little bit disturbing as per its current price action and trajectory and what the possible near-term future could be for it. I talked about some of these with my stock group members. So here's the daily chart for Tesla, and I am standing by my $300 price prediction by August the 8th when robotaxi day comes around, but I do want to point out what I'm seeing here on the charts that I think is going to be a little bit concerning in the near term when we look at Tesla and the price action for what we could be seeing. So if I get rid of some of the stuff that we have on here, which I think might be crowding up our vision a little bit, I'm going to get rid of the EMAs. I'm going to get rid of the 200 SMA, which mind you, we're up above the 200-day, which is bullish, and up above the 50, but the 50 has not yet crossed above the 200. I think when it does, that we could see that golden cross moment, and I think that's what part of what leads us up to that $300 price tag. But what you see on are these blue lines here for the Bollinger Bands. These are the 2 standard deviation Bollinger Bands, and we have crossed up above it on Monday. We had sat on top of it, so a full candle close above 2 standard deviations, and then we gapped up above that on Wednesday. So incredible price action that we have here. There could definitely be another day that's up there, but being up above 2 standard deviations, outside of those, only 2.5% are going to be up above 2 standard deviations of all the price action that we have over the last 20 days. So this is a really rare occurrence to have those prices up that high, and it could signal that we get that near-term pullback. Now, mind you, I like to use 3 standard deviations, and when you use 3 standard deviations, let me adjust this here, instead of 2, there we go. So what you can see is that our price action today is just closing right around that 3 standard deviation mark, being up above 3 standard deviations. On top of it, above it, you get about 0.15, I'm sorry, that's less than 1%. 0.15% of all your price action is going to happen up above that. Now we're getting into super rare territory, and the fact that we've been up there for a while following this breakout, now mind you, when we get this sort of narrowing, it's definitely easier to make it possible for us to ride along that, but I don't think that we ride along it forever. I think that there's going to be some sort of profit taking along the way, and something else that makes me think that we're going to get that profit taking. It's Friday before a weekend after a massive, just amazing, incredible week for Tesla. I think that our price action could probably rip back down pretty hard on us. Does it put us into bearish territory? I don't think so. I think it could bring us back down to this trend line. I think it's going to be a little bit painful. I don't know that we get a full 10%, which would be about where we'd get this trend line coming from. So from 250 right now, bring us back to 228. That's a $22 drop, so that's about 10%-ish. So that'd be very painful. I don't know if they see that. I think maybe 3 to 5% could be a little bit more reasonable for that profit taking that we see. Bring us right back around from, so 250, we'll say 5% off of that would be, well, that'd be about $238 per share. So we'll say 238 to 240, I think would be reasonable if we see that pullback today. Now, mind you, if we don't, I think it only increases the likelihood that we see that pullback happening on Monday, based on what we're seeing with the overbought status with the RSI, with what we're seeing with the standard deviations on the Bollinger Bands. And the longer that this holds out, the bigger the correction that we could get to Tesla's stock price. And I do think that it's not going to be a straight shot to 300. I think that we're going to have a little bit of a zigzag happening in the chart pattern where we have a little bit of a give back, followed by the next leg of the run leading up to their earnings, which, by the way, the earnings, as I've said in previous videos, Tuesday, the 23rd of July, it's been officially announced as per their deliveries on the 2nd. They said that Tuesday, July 3rd in the after hours would be when we would have that. And I think that it's possible if we get that run up prior to earnings that we get a sell the news event before those earnings or just following those earnings. And we're going to have to see how we approach that. And we'll see if that 300 price tag comes to fruition between now and August the 8th. I think that there's a very good possibility that we get there. There's also a very good possibility that it's not a straight shot to getting us there. And I do think that should we make it up to 300, that we're going to have a pretty hard rejection off that value at first. And then we'll look and see where that support happens to land. Now, I don't think this is all sunshine and rainbows from a long-term perspective. Now, mind you, I am a long-term shareholder of Tesla, so that makes me an investor in Tesla. Not just trading it, but from a trading standpoint, I think that there could be a bounce, a rejection off that 300, I should say, off that resistance if we get up there in the first place. And then we have to look and see where we get that support, just how much we retrace, because that could, again, set up another leg. Now, about the sunshine and rainbows, the third and fourth quarter of this year, we're going to have to see macroeconomically what plays out. We're also going to have to listen to what we get from the banks from earnings. We're going to have to hear from what we get from retail from earnings. We're going to have to see what Tesla themselves has to say from their earnings. Is this a high point for the year? Is this marking a low point last quarter? And then what we have is something that's a little bit more stable and to the upside from here. We're going to have to look and see. We need to hear about the Optimus robot. We need to hear more about robotaxis. We need to hear more about their AI plans. FSD itself, like, is it going to be something that's going to be more leased out? Is it something that's more local to Tesla? Those are all things that we're going to have to listen to for that further push up beyond that 300, especially if we're going to hold that 300 line. I think there's going to be more buying opportunities over time. I think that there's a good possibility that over the next 2 to 3 quarters that we start to see a lot of incredible opportunity come to the market itself. And I think that's also going to set us up for more opportunities for Tesla. We're going to have to watch and see. I don't know for the markets, by the way, if that top is in, but that's for another video. So guys, let me know what you think about Tesla down in the comments of this. If you guys want to join my stock group, there's also a link for that. You can join the Discord over there, talk to me and the other community members, and you can see what else I have to offer, such as my buys and sells that are over there as well. And then if you want to learn to do technical analysis like I do and really bring power to your portfolio through technical analysis trading, you can do so. There's a link for that in the description as well. I really do appreciate your time, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.